Do you have a child who's already dreading summer celebrations and get-togethers? Are you anxious about the inevitable meltdowns, the tantrums, and the tears that seem to accompany every fireworks display or a crowded holiday gathering? If you're like many parents we meet, you've probably tried everything. Noise-canceling headphones, watching fireworks from a distance, or even avoiding the celebration altogether. But what if I told you that these well-meaning strategies only address the signs, not the actual root cause of your child's sensory overload? Studies show that up to 1 in 6 children struggle with a sensory processing challenge. And for these kids, even events like 4th of July celebrations aren't just uncomfortable, they can be genuinely overwhelming and even painful. But here's what most doctors aren't telling you. Your child's extreme reaction to fireworks and celebrations isn't simply about loud noises or bright lights. It's often a sign of a deeper neurological imbalance that can be properly addressed, not just managed through avoidance. So this video that we're doing today, it's for parents of children who struggle with sensory overload, especially during high stimulation events like 4th of July celebrations. It's for parents who are tired of just managing traits rather than addressing the real underlying cause of their child's challenges. We're jumping into the connection between your child's birth experience, nervous system development, and their current sensory struggles. We'll also cover why traditional approaches often fall short and how neurologically focused care can help transform your child's ability to handle celebrations and everyday sensory challenges alike. But before we go into all of that, let me tell you about Logan, a child whose story might sound familiar. For his first few years of life, Logan struggled with such severe sensory overload that his family couldn't take him anywhere in public. Not to the grocery store, not to restaurants, and certainly not to a loud event like fireworks displays. And his parents constantly dreaded social gatherings, and they wondered about his future when he had to start school. What's more, Logan's sensory challenges were so extreme that once, when he cut himself badly, he didn't even register the pain. He was only bothered by the sensation of blood running down his arm. Now, traditional approaches weren't helping, and his family felt increasingly isolated and hopeless. But today, after receiving neurologically focused care that addressed the root cause of his sensory processing challenges, Logan is a thriving honor roll student who can enjoy family celebrations, including the 4th of July. And his transformation from a child trapped by sensory overload to one who can participate fully in life's experiences shows what's possible when we address the real underlying cause rather than just managing the signs. So let's jump into this video and start off by understanding the nervous system connection to sensory overload. Sensory overload, like we said, it isn't just about external triggers like loud noises and bright lights. It is a sign that your child's nervous system is stuck in a state of constant fight or flight, making normal sensory input feel threatening or even overwhelming. And this state, which we call sympathetic dominance, means that your child's brain is constantly on high alert. It's unable to properly filter and process sensory information from their environment. And what makes the 4th of July particularly challenging is that it combines multiple intense sensory experiences simultaneously. Loud, unexpected noises, bright flashing lights, crowds, unusual smells from sparklers and barbecues, and then there's the disrupted routines. And when your child's nervous system is already struggling to process everyday sensory information, these holiday celebrations can become the perfect storm that pushes them over the edge into complete overload. Now, let's explore the root cause. The root cause of your child's sensory challenges is often a condition called dysautonomia. It's a fancy way of saying that the nervous system, there's an imbalance between the fight or flight sympathetic nervous system and the rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system. Too much gas, not enough brakes. And this imbalance is frequently caused by something we call subluxation, which is essentially an interference in the communication between the brain and the body. The body continues to communicate stress, so the brain stays in stress mode. And the big thing to know about subluxation is that it can particularly affect the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the master controller of that parasympathetic rest and digest side of the nervous system. And what we're seeing is that this subluxation often begins and sets up shop early in life, during birth, especially when interventions like C-sections or forceps or vacuum extraction, even induction, when these things are involved, this can create what we call an overlooked and dismissed birth experience or birth trauma. Because here's what's happening. When the vagus nerve is compromised by birth trauma, when you're lifted, when you're twisted, when you're stuck, when you're pulled, that's going to influence neurology. Your child's nervous system can get stuck in an overactive sympathetic state. It continues to communicate stress, making it nearly impossible for them to naturally calm and regulate themselves. So the problem presents itself, but then the solutions don't focus on the problem that caused the problem in the first place. Traditional approaches to sensory overload, they focus primarily on avoidance strategies. Hey, let's skip the fireworks. Let's use noise canceling headphones or create a sensory friendly environment. And while these strategies can help in the moment, they're not addressing the underlying neurological dysfunction that makes your child hypersensitive in the first place. We can look at medications, which attempt to dampen your child's responses, but these often come with unwanted side effects and still don't fix the root neurological imbalance. And even therapy approaches like sensory integration therapy or occupational therapy, awesome therapies, beneficial. They're often less effective if the underlying nervous system dysfunction isn't addressed first. And that brings us to our final point, turning to a neurologically focused approach first. At Reissing Health, we take a fundamentally, say that 5 times fast, fundamentally different approach from traditional methods because we look to start by directly addressing the root cause of your child's sensory challenges. That subluxation, that dysautonomia that's affecting their nervous system. We start with comprehensive insight scans, particularly the neurospinal EMG scan, which allows us to measure the exact location and severity of nervous system stress and tension in your child's body. What continues to communicate stress to the brain? We can find that. And these scans help us to identify the nociception, that neurological noise. It's noxious, it's annoying, it's stressful. That's disrupting your child's ability to process sensory information properly, creating a sort of noisy brain syndrome. We can calm that. We can help change that. Our precise, gentle adjustments target these areas of subluxation, of noise, of interference to the nervous system, helping to restore balance between that sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, and allowing your child's brain to better filter and process sensory input. Imagine your child actually looking forward to 4th of July celebrations, get-togethers, and summer parties instead of dreading them. Picture your family enjoying fireworks together without having to leave early because of a meltdown. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's what we see regularly when children receive care that addresses the real root cause of their sensory challenges. Like Logan, who transformed from a child unable to handle even simple public outings to a thriving honor roll student. Your child has the potential to overcome sensory overload when the underlying nervous system dysfunction is properly addressed. The difference isn't just noticeable during big events like the 4th of July. It impacts every aspect of your child's development, of their learning, and their quality of life. We would love to help your child's nervous system find that balance so that they can experience all the joy that this summer has to offer. So if you're ready, we invite you to schedule a consultation and insight scan, the first step into finding the root cause and getting momentum back to conquering that sensory overload. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.